I'm LaToya Matthews and welcome to my show. We have another segment in Cooking 101, and what are we cooking up today? Eggs. Eggs, eggs, eggs. I have two delicious recipes for you for eggs that are quick and easy, and you can store and eat them every day. Okay, let's get started. Let me get some things from my fridge and we'll get ready to rock. Okay, what we'll need is a couple dozen of eggs, and some broccoli. Now with both of these meals, what came across is I'm very busy. And a lot of times I want to eat something early in the morning because it satisfies me and it keeps me from overeating later in the day. When I don't eat early, I tend to eat a little bit too much later in the day. So I wanted to come up with a recipe where I could have some eggs, because eggs are so satisfying that they keep you full longer. I'm just going to rinse this broccoli off right fast. And so I came up with this meal. The hardest thing about this meal is chopping up this broccoli. Okay. Now, as I said, I wanted something that I could have and prepare and eat it later. So with the broccoli, I decided to bake some eggs. Now, long before I knew anything about a frittata, which is bacon egg, we just called it bacon and egg. And then I found out I was watching one of those cooking shows and they call it a frittata. So what I'm basically going to do is we're going to make some egg cake. We are going to chop up this broccoli really, really small into little bits and pieces. And this is about the most challenging thing. Now, if you have a food processor, you probably can chop this up a lot faster. And it doesn't matter how you chop it, just make sure it's all really nice and fine. And I thought about this, if you have kids, this is a perfect way to get them to eat breakfast in the morning. Are you familiar with that book, Green Eggs and Ham, Sam I Am? I do not like those green eggs and ham. Well, this is some green eggs. When I get finished with this, because of the broccoli, it covers the egg and makes them green. So it's something you can work into a story for your little kids. Eggs are extremely satisfying. They'll keep you full for a long time. An excellent source of protein. So I'm just going to chop these up. And get them into my bowl. I'm going to use an entire container of eggs. That's all 12 eggs. And once I prepare it, I'm going to section it off and I'll be able to eat it every single morning. And what I do is, I'll show you, but I cut them into sections. And it makes about a dozen eggs, makes it about into 6 different sections. And in those 6 sections, it's just like 2 eggs per day. Now, if you have a problem with high cholesterol, you may want to watch it. But for everyone else, if your cholesterol is pretty normal, you can have 2 eggs per day. And the way I have it hooked up with my broccoli, you're actually having a serving of vegetables with your broccoli. I mean, with your eggs. Because it's almost a cup of broccoli in every square. And I cut these things up. I'm going to chop it all in. And you know broccoli is a very nutritious vegetable. And it's quite inexpensive. Okay. Now I'm going to use 12 eggs. Now you can check my website, LaToyaMatthews.com, and I'll have the basic nutritional value of eggs broke down. There's a lot of good things about eggs. For a minute, eggs had gotten a bad rap. They were talking about that they were bad with cholesterol. That's when everybody was tripping on the high cholesterol numbers and everything. But then, and I think it was like in 2010 or 11, that they released a new report stating that eggs are actually not that bad for you at all. So if you have a problem with high cholesterol, you may not want to eat these every single day. But it is a good thing to eat the egg, the white and the yolk, both portions. This is such a 1, 2, 3 recipe. And if you can prepare these things in advance, you'll have a balanced meal for all day. Okay, and then bingo, cheese. Now you know cheese makes everything taste good. I'm gonna put this whole container. Now I'm using sharp cheddar, but I've also made this meal that I've used pepper jack and American cheese. But today I'm using sharp cheddar, and I throw the whole bag in there. I just dump it in there, get rid of this. And get something to stir this with. Okay, I'm also going to add some onion powder, some garlic powder, and some nice ground pepper. Now, I don't use salt, but if you want to, you can sprinkle some salt or any type of seasoning that you prefer. Before I gave up salt, I used to always like seasoned salt, and I used to put that in here. But now, since I'm down on really kicking back on my sodium, I don't use any salt. I try to get the natural flavor of food, and it may take you a while because our taste buds are so diluted from always having salt and heavy processed foods. Okay, that should be enough. Now we're just going to stir it all together. And as I stir, I turn the bowl. And you talking about a cheesy, good egg. Oh, it's absolutely delicious. And cheese is another high form of protein. So with this, you won't need any bacon. You won't need any sausage, ham, or anything else. Everything you need is right here. You got your carbs, which are combined with your protein. It's a complete meal right here. So we're just going to stir it all up. Okay, and that's it. Now I'm going to spray my pan. I've got some olive oil here, but you can use any kind of spray that you like, so it won't stick. Spray it really well and pour it on. Now preheat your oven to 375, and it'll let it cook for about 15 minutes. Now, one thing for sure, make sure this is done completely. This is not the time for you to have runny eggs because you're going to store it. So make sure it's cooked completely. Okay, and I'm going to pop this inside the oven. Now, before I do that, I'm going to cook my second round 2 meal. Now, this next one, I'll call this like a Tex-Mex. And you're talking about easy. Both of these store well inside the fridge and you can carry them. Now this one, you can't eat it and drive. The broccoli and eggs, you'll see once I cut it up into cubes, you can actually drive with it. With this, you'll probably have to use a fork because it gets a little runny. Now with this one, I'm going to use some black beans and some diced green chili tomatoes with our cheese. So again, we're using a dozen eggs. I'm giving you 2 great recipes that your family will love. You can prepare both of these in advance, and you can store them inside the refrigerator. So when you all are about to run out of the door in the morning, you just grab one, throw it inside the microwave for a couple of moments, and the kids can eat them on their way to school. Now, if you really have time, with both of these, they make a great brunch menu. So if you're inviting some people over to the house, it's a great way to entertain also. You can cut these up into nice sized squares, serve them on a piece of toast. And what really makes it elegant, if you're entertaining, with the toast, cut the corners off, all of the edges, and it makes it look so nice, and cut them in triangles instead of squares. Okay, get this out the way. Just want to clean this off a bit. There we are. And I've got to get my strainer so I can strain those beans. I'm gonna rinse that out right fast. And get my can opener. Now with both of these, my black beans and also my diced green tomatoes, I'm gonna make sure I drain them very well. And with the black beans, I'm gonna rinse them also to get any excess sodium or any debris, and also because they're black. And if you don't rinse them off, everything will turn black. So I like to rinse it off right. And I just run the water over them until it turns clear. And everybody knows that beans are a great source of fiber. So you want to get everything moving in the morning. Okay. I'm going to let that sit for a moment. And I've got to spray this down. I'm going to spray it with my olive oil spray. And I'm just going to make a layer of beans. Right there. Okay. One flat. Make sure it's flat. Don't let them pile up. Boom. And that's it. I'm going to stir my eggs up real fast. Beat my eggs. Now with this, because I'm using those tomatoes that are really spicy, I'm not seasoning my eggs at all. I will put a bit of pepper in them, and that's it. Again, if you all want to, you can put some salt in them or whatever type of seasoning that you like. But for me, I'm just going to drop a little bit of pepper. And that's all.